So this is obviously a catfish. What do we have here? Well, I don't know how many of y'all are really familiar with catfish, but catfish can be grouped into really, about 4 probably main groups of catfish. One, of course, is the flathead that doesn't look like anything else. It's got the huge mouth, really flat head, as they said, which is because it has a huge mouth. They get really big, of course. They are unique among catfish in that they are primarily a predator of fish. They eat the heck out of fish, which is why they have the big mouth. Second group would be like the channel/blue catfish. They both have the deeply forked tail. I saw a video of me catching channel catfish earlier this year from the Chattahoochee. They also get rather large, not as the channel a little less so than the blue, but they can reach 30-40 pounds. The blues can reach 80-90 pounds. When you talk about the smaller catfish, really you have 2 groups. You have the madtoms, which are stream catfish that get some species get 2 or 3 inches. A few of them are bigger. They get, like stone cats and such like that, get maybe 10 to 12 inches. But most madtoms are below 5 inches. You rarely would ever catch them on a lure. And then you have the bullheads, and that's the one we're used to. It's the one you've probably caught before. When I was growing up, I used to catch the heck out of bullheads, fishing worms on the bottom, especially at night, in all those small lakes in South Jersey. So bullheads, there's browns, there's blacks, there's yellows. Those are the 3 most widely distributed ones. There's also snail bullheads and spotted bullheads, flat bullheads, maybe a couple I'm not thinking of off the top of my head. But your big 3, if you will, are blacks, browns, and yellows. We have browns and yellows for sure in Alabama. We might have some blacks in the Tennessee drainage. I'm not sure. They're more of a northern fish. It's easy to tell. So first of all, bullheads versus madtoms. Madtoms have a fin, a tail that goes continuously around the body. It starts right about where you see my pinky, and it wraps all the way around to the fin you see on the bottom of my pinky. So it's just got a circle tail. It doesn't have a fork in it whatsoever. Bullheads have the same tail that all the other catfish have. They have a little adipose fin right there on the top, like trout do, and then they have an anal fin on the bottom, and then they have a tail. And they usually have they're pretty short, and they have a big wide head on them, which is where they got their name from. So this is obviously a bullhead. It's not a black. It could either be a brown or a yellow. And although browns are supposed to have kind of a mottled coloration, if you will, and bullhead yellows are supposed to be somewhat yellowish, that's not reality. The easiest way to tell them apart is very simple for a change. It's the color of their barbels. It's that simple. Browns and blacks both have dark colored barbels, and yellows have white colored barbels. So if it's one of those 3 and it has white colored barbels, it's automatically a yellow, which is what this little fella here is. These guys can get up to a couple pounds, but in streams like this they probably rarely get even half a pound. They're native, of course. They eat just about anything they can get their mouth wrapped around. Highly nocturnal. One of the great cleanup crews in aquatic systems. Bullheads have very strong mouths. A little guy like this probably wouldn't hurt you, but if you caught one, around a pound or more on a fishing line, you don't want to stick your fingers in their mouth, because you will remember that experience and never do it again. And like all catfish, they do have the spines that are in both of their pectoral fins and also their dorsal fin. They don't really have poison in them like some madtoms do, but their slime is somewhat caustic, and you don't feel it unless you get jabbed, and then you feel like you've been, dipping your wound in vinegar. So you have to be careful. You don't want to just grab them in your hands. You can see how I'm holding them right there with those 2 spines underneath my fingers. and you know, you don't want the dorsal spine, you don't want it to be anywhere near you. All catfish can breathe through their skins for a fair amount of time as long as they're wet. So they need very little dissolved oxygen. So this low water does not really hurt them very much.